Okay. We've talked a lot about different parts of the brain. How about if we make a brain model? This is going to be cool. Okay, now remember there's 5 parts of the brain. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of paper and put it right here like this. There you go. And then I've got my packet of stuff here, and I've got some different colors of Play-Doh. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Now, I'm going to make my brain model out of this Play-Doh, and it is going to be so cool. So the first thing I want to do is look at what I like to call the cerebrum. Okay? Remember, the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain, and it's where all the thinking goes on. Okay? One thing you want to remember when you're making the brain model is it's not just one big lump like that. Okay? It's going to be almost like lots of little ropes. So I'm going to rub it out. So there you go. So you want long and thin pieces like this. And then I'm going to lay it back and forth, just like that, okay? So there we go. And then I'm going to do some more, just like that again, so that I can do it back and forth. And this is a really cool part about it. The cool part about it is, as we're doing this, we're remembering that this is the brain, the biggest part of the brain, the one that does my thinking, the one that does my problem solving, the one that tells me if the answer is correct or not. And there we go. You can see that I've got it all going like that. And I'm going to keep doing this. There. All right. So that is going to be my cerebrum like that. And you can see it has all those little ridges and curves and everything in there. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about, I like to call the cerebellum. I'm going to put that one. Now remember, that's a lot smaller than the cerebrum, and it sits kind of behind it. Okay, it sits behind it. So there we go. Down a little bit lower and behind it like that. And then I'm going to go like this. Like that. Okay, so there's the cerebellum, and that's more round, whereas the cerebrum's like big and long, like that. So there we go. There's the cerebellum. Okay, now the next one we're going to talk about is what I like to call the medulla, or the brain stem, and that's usually identified as green. I don't know why, but that's what color we're going to make it, because that's what color a lot of other people make it. Again, not a whole lot like the cerebrum, but it's the brain stem. It's the one that carries the messages, and that's going to go down just like that. And down below the brain system is where the nervous system starts, and the nervous system is what we're going to be talking about in the next class. Okay? And then after the brain stem, this goes into the spinal cord, which is where the nervous system is. Okay, so now, remember, the brain stem is also what controls your breathing and your heart rate and all of that. All right, another one is what I call the pituitary gland, controls your growth, and it's about the size of a pea, just like this, okay? We're going to put that right there. And then the last one that we're going to talk about, right here is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is like the thermostat. Remember we talked about that? The hypothalamus is like the thermostat in your body, and that's going to be right up in the middle, sitting underneath the cerebrum and on top of the brain stem, just like that. Okay, so there's your brain, and that's it. Look, we have the cerebrum right here, the cerebellum back here, the brainstem or the medulla here, the pituitary gland right here, and then the hypothalamus right in the middle. Now, how cool is that? Now remember, all of these working together is what controls our body and how we interact. It controls our thinking. It controls our growth. It controls the temperature in our body and everything else. Now, if you got a question, it's in the brain that it happens. Okay. So this is what we've learned today. The brain is a really complex organ in charge of everything that our body does. Our thoughts, our memories, our emotions, our touch, our motor skills, vision, breathing, temperature, hunger, even the processes that regulate the temperature in our body and how we grow. It's part of a nervous system, and we're going to learn about the rest of the nervous system in the next class. Along with the spinal cord, it connects to all the nerves that travels throughout the body. The nervous system, hang on, you're going to learn about that next time. But remember, the brain controls it all. Everything we think and feel and do would be impossible without the work of the brain and the support system in the nervous system. If you learned something today, say, I learned something. And if you had fun, say, I had fun. I'm so glad you did. Can't wait to see you next time, right here in the Mad Science Lab.